On maps, things that are detailed tend to attract our attention. When we design maps, we can't change the geographic shapes of things, but there are a few tricks we can use to make some shapes appear more detailed than others. Hi, I'm Heather and I'm a cartographer. In this video, I'll show you a few tricks for controlling the visual hierarchy of a map using detail. Visual hierarchy is a design technique that lets people know which information on your map is the most important. Watch my other two videos to learn more. I'm working in ArcGIS online. I'll select the layer that I want to have the lowest visual hierarchy, the one I want people to notice last. The problem is there's so many of these buildings and their shapes are so complex. This is a very detailed layer. I can start by adjusting its transparency. That really helped to push it into the background. But I can also take this further. I'll go to the effects pane and add a blur. And I'll add this blur and transparency to the other layer as well. Now, see how these two layers seem to fall away into the distance? Photographers often use this technique. The thing they want you to notice is really crisp and detailed, while the background is blurred and fuzzy. That's visual hierarchy. What I've done is to make this layer appear like it's on top of the others, like it's in the foreground. It's closer to the viewer, while the blurry polygons appear farther away. Now, another trick you can use to make something appear more detailed is to give it a pattern. I'm going to use a hatch fill. I don't recommend doing this often because it can really clutter up the map, but sometimes it can come in handy. For example, if you're really restricted by color or your shapes are very simple. Another thing that increases detail is to add labels. Densely labeled areas are detailed, so they're going to attract attention. Now, that doesn't mean you should add or remove labels just to improve visual hierarchy. But do consider how labels and other detailed things can affect your visual hierarchy. For example, I really love the imagery hybrid base map, but all of those labels and the detailed imagery are really hard to compete with. I can help, of course, if I adjust my symbols. High contrast equals high visual hierarchy, so with a dark background, I'm going to make my symbols light colors to make them stand out. And I can remove the labels from the base map. So it's certainly not impossible to get good visual hierarchy with a really detailed base map, but it's definitely easier if you use a plain one. So when adjusting the visual hierarchy of your map, remember that detailed things will attract attention. Try reducing the detail of everything except your most important layer so it can stand out.